Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So, getting ready for the Florida Van Life Gathering, Thomas's van. Today we got a couple of panels that I'm going to put in, and they've already been pre-cut, ready to go in. But one of them, I want to go ahead and show you guys live how I upholster it. So essentially, how I'm gluing it to the panel. So there's a couple techniques that I picked up. They may help you if you're wanting to attempt to do your own upholstery in your van, which I highly recommend doing. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's just really cool because instead of having more of a hard surface, if you're using like laminate or you're painting, fabric adds a little bit more of a softer feel to the van, a little bit more cozy feel. So yeah, we're going to go and hop over here, and I am on, so this is the desktop over here. So I'll have to come back and forth to look at the chat if anybody's watching today. But I actually won't be able to see anything. And I'm going to try to keep tabs on this on my phone as well, which seems to not be showing the YouTube. But anyway, we're going to hop over here to the table and we're going to get started. All right, let's see here. We got our camera on. Are we looking? Nice. Yeah, let's see if I can connect this to the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi has been flaky the last couple days. Okay, I'm just going to turn this off. I'll turn it back on. This is what I use to kind of reference my framing here. Anyway, yeah, we have our panel and our fabric. So when you go to start working on your van, the first thing you might want to do is go ahead and pick out the type of fabric you're going to use. So I'm using Marathon fabric. I wonder if I have that envelope. Yep, it's right over here. Let me grab it. So we'll hop over here to this computer real quick. All right, guys. So there's a company, Perfect Fit, and they're the ones that I have referenced before as far as getting samples for upholstery and stuff like that. And what they'll do is they'll send you. You can ask them to send you a couple of products. I did this because I'm a builder, and they have a little van builder program. But what you can do is ask them to send you a bunch of their stuff. And for this one, for example, these were a couple of the swatches that Thomas and I had looked through as far as, what would be a good something to use in his van, because he wanted kind of more like that desert type fabric. They also have foam, so like this foam padding. Then they have really cool, different style textures. They have like this net stuff if you wanted to have like maybe make some storage pouches, stuff like that. They've got the, like carpet rug stuff. And then they have this energy shield. This is the first time I saw it. I haven't actually opened this package. Because we already decided on what we were going to get. Energy shield. All right, might have to talk about that. And while I'm on the topic here, let me get on YouTube. I just want to see. Let's see here. Let's see how this is coming through. Haven't live streamed in a while, so let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to pull up. All right, cool. Everything looks good. Let's see, let me back up to the table real quick. All right. All right, starting to doing technical details here real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna hop on to Amazon and I'm gonna show you this new product that we just purchased yesterday, and I'm gonna try it out next week. It is called Dyna Liner. So check this out. This stuff is called Dyna Liner, and it is a vibration isolator, noise reducer, and heat blocker fabric. It's from the company Dynamat. You might know them. They're kind of like the Rattle Trap and stuff like that type of company. But it has actual a foam, adhered foam to a dampening material. So we're going to try that because we want a little bit more thermal properties in the metal areas of the van that we're going to try to cover. Anyway, since we're talking about upholstery, I thought I'd pull that up because we just bought a tube of this yesterday. But we'll be using this on the harsh metal areas that tend to be cold or cold to touch when you're in the van. But we'll get back to the regular programming where we are going to be doing the upholstered panel with the fabric. So since everything looks like it's working nice, let's hop back over to the table. All right, so if I hear one of the cameras go out, I'll switch back over. Let's turn this back on. Here we go. All right, so once we've decided on what fabric we're going to use, you need to get a roll, and you pretty much need to double your order on the roll. I mean, not double. Let's see here. If you can if you're very frugal and you want to go through and measure all the square footage of your van, you may want to add about 20% extra fabric. Depending on what your panels look like. So for example, if you're going to have a lot of panels that are pretty close to the width, it's going to give you a lot of room to cover both sides, and you don't have to worry about the ends. Now, if you go to have some very long panels, what's going to happen is you're going to have to sacrifice the length of the roll in order to go long ways like this. And so you may have a lot of scrap, but you're going to need to have that length in order to cover your panel appropriately and not have these like gaps and stuff. You don't want to do that. It's an expensive, fabric's expensive, but it's better just to get more. That's just my opinion. Because like we're adding some other shelves and stuff in here that we didn't anticipate. We want to cover some stuff that we didn't anticipate because it changes. We want to do some more things. So just get extra. But here's the roll that we got. I forgot exactly how much we got of the roll. As far as your layout table, you do need some type of layout table. You can use like a 4x8 sheet of plywood. It's something to do. And then you can put that on some sawhorses. Make sure you get it to a nice working height so you're not bent over. That makes a big deal or a big difference. Sawhorses. There we go. Make sure you get it to a nice working height so you're not bent. All right, guys, I have my my chat and everything up. There we go. Now I can see what's going on. Yeah, table, nice working height, and the first thing you want to do is make sure your panel is nice and prepped properly. So you can put fabric on bare wood. Now, for example, I did this black on the back side because the corners, I'm going to cover both sides, but this side I painted black just in case I needed to not cover it. And then that way, when you look through the window, it's not apparent that it's a white panel. So just kind of ignore this, because again, I changed my mind. I'm going to double side it. But this is actually a good example why we're here. You do want to put 1 or 2 coats of paint on here, and latex will be good, because any panel that will see, like say you open up your sliding door. So for example, the panel that we did on Thomas's sliding door, that one's coated on both sides with just white latex paint. And that is to protect it from direct rain. So like, for example, say you had the sliding door open and the rain's blowing in, the fabric's probably going to get wet. So in that instance, you want the wood to be protected. Now on the inside of your van, that's not going to happen. This is going to be dry all the time. And as long as this panel is bolted to some type of structure, it's reinforced on the back, either with 80/20 or you have a wood frame, you're not going to have to worry about warping because you have that backbone to support the wood panel. As far as quality of wood goes, quality of wood is really difficult to find. Baltic birch and stuff like that. If you're up in the Northwest, there's a lot of that's more readily available as far as that type of kind of hardy ply. If not, we're kind of down here in the Southeast, and you can order it, but therein lies the problem where it's more cost effective to go to Lowe's and get a 1/2 inch panel and then just be picky on the piece of wood you get. I've been using this type of this is like just sanded ply. It's let's see how many ply it is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's like a 7 ply 1/2 inch. And this board's done really well. Now I will have to say you do need to have a shop or an indoor area like a garage where you are working with material. I have like a humidity gauge over there, and I kind of keep my wood where I want it so that it doesn't, get hot, cold, because it will warp. So when you buy wood, say you buy it from Lowe's or whatever, it's going to be nice and true. But when you bring it to a different environment, it's either going to dry out or get more humid. So you need to go ahead and work with that piece of wood before it gets too out of whack. Or stack it in a way that it doesn't warp. So that's kind of my prep. This is the prep for the table. The prep for the wood is to kind of keep it in good condition, paint it if it's going to be in a moisture prone area, like the back door, I say sliding door because that's usually a door where there's not like an overhang and it usually blows in. This is in the back of the van, but it's going to be tucked away in a corner to where, when the doors are open, the rain is not going to get on it. Anyway, let's keep moving. So this panel goes in the rear driver's side part of the van. This, each one of these holes here is to be mounted into 80/20. So these 2 holes, or these 3 holes down at the bottom are 80/20. This hole right here is mounting location into 80/20. And then these top holes right here are actually riv nuts into the top of the van. Because the reason that this is like this is the van curves, okay? So it starts like this flat, and then it kind of curves in. So this top part, we're actually riv nutting into the top of the van, and the bottom part is part of the 80/20 structure, and there's an 80/20 beam right here that this is going to bolt into. And again, you want that real strong frame, whether it's a wood frame or 80/20, that's what's going to keep your wood from warping. If you don't have that strong backbone, don't rely on this piece of wood quality to not make it warp. If you can buy expensive, like Baltic birch or whatever, cool. But if you don't have access to that, you're buying stuff from Home Depot or Lowe's, precisely cut this out and then go ahead and get your panel all good to go. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is we are going to, after we've got our board prepped, we've got our holes drilled, and a good cheat for drilling your holes is to have a jig. So I have this thing right here, it's a jig. Essentially what that does is I'm able to, where is my drill bit? So I have a 5/16 drill bit. These are 5/16-18 holes for the panhead screw. Oh, hey Daniel. Welcome to the live stream. Talking about upholstery today. So we have this jig, and then this way what I do is I take it and I'll bolt it to the piece of wood, and I'll go through here and where is my clamp? It's a busy day in the shop. We're getting ready for van life, the Florida Van Life Gathering. It's in Florida. It's between Tampa and Orlando, and that's this weekend. So it's going to be really exciting, but we're down to the wire here. I just got 3 of these panels to do, a couple tweaks in the van, and it'll be wrapped up to take it to Thomas. Anyway, take this clamp it down, and then once it's clamped down, all you do is just take your drill. Let me get the camera. Hold on, we're coming back. Don't leave. That camera does that. Until I get a better one, that's just the way it's going to be. So you put this in the drill, and then the jig allows it to be even with the 80/20 that you're putting in here. And then that way your holes fit. Now here's the thing. If you notice, I have like these elongated ones here and elongated ones here. You're not going to get this 100% perfect the first try. Even I don't do that. So what you want to make, you just want to take it, test fit it, take it back out, test fit it, take it back out. Get really comfortable with this being exactly what it needs to be. I'm kind of glad that I painted this black back here, because for you guys, this is the front of the panel. So I've done this before. Either I was in a rush or for some reason my brain went somewhere, but the way you upholster it and wrap it, you obviously want the front of it to be the presentable side. The back side, don't worry about the back side. You're never going to see it. Even in this case, where this back side, it's going to be in the back of the van. He has the van tinted and he has like a camo tint. So it's pretty much impossible. So don't worry about the back side. Always worry about this front side. Go ahead on this front side and then make sure, for example, I've got this little cut right here with a razor. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a piece of steel and I'm just going to kind of run this over it. And I just kind of push down that raised edge that I have, because sometimes that'll show through. Yeah, I should have sanded that down before this live stream, but we're doing it live. Anyway, prep this, make sure it's nice and smooth. It's cleaned up. So it's pretty cleaned up. You can take compressed air, wipe this down, do whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? What I kind of like about the raw wood is that when I spray this down, I do about 3 coats of this, And what's going to happen is it's going to kind of sink into the wood since it's not been painted. And then every additional layer kind of builds up this really nice, tacky, just real permanent bond. So we'll talk about this in just a second. All right, make sure you test your panel. Make sure you put your hands on it. Make sure it's nice and flush. You've tested all of your holes, because once you put the carpet on it, or your fabric or upholstery, you can't go back and visually see this hole. It's going to be covered up. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to be aware of where your true hole is on here. So for example, when we upholster this, since we had to elongate our hole, you know, you just want to take, maybe take a marker, and on the back side, I'm going to cover this up, but for you DIYers, you notice that I had to move the hole higher. So maybe on the back, I just put a little arrow showing that the top of the hole is where I want to my razor mark in order to open the hole up for the screw. Because you don't want to open up the hole lower where your screw doesn't go and risk having a place where you've cut and now you've exposed a hole and it's just kind of, it doesn't look good. Okay, so next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start prepping our products to upholster this. I got cardboard in my water. Come on. Hold on, guys. Yeah, so we're just going to go grab all of our stuff to get started here in the shop. Okay, the most important product is 3M Super 77. All right, 3M Super 77. That's what you want. Do not use 3M High Strength 90. Don't use that. Let's do a quick education really quick here. The reason you want to use Super 77 is it is for foil, foam, paper, metal, plastic, fabric, cardboard, insulation. High Strength 90 is for kick plates, polyethylene, polypropylene, plastics, laminate, concrete, metal, and wood. This is wood, yes, I understand. But this does extremely well on this surface. So, 3M Super 77. All right, let's check that off the list. Next, most important, razor blades. All right. Now these are, I swear by this, I'm not sponsored, but OLFA. You can buy these at Lowe's. You have the little one, and then you got the bigger one. Okay. Extra blades. Once you start doing the spray glue or spray adhesive, you're going to be wanting to break these blades off continuously. If they gum up with adhesive, you just want to safely move it to a break-off point. You know, turn away or have safety glasses on. Go ahead and break it off. Then make sure you dispose of that properly. I have like a little Armor All plastic jug that I put the blades in. You know, put them in a jug or a glass jar when you throw them away. Don't just put them in your trash can so that the trash man has to deal with razor blades in the trash can. That's not nice. Have some type of plastic tub or something you put them in. But the razor is the most important because this fabric is very, very resilient. This is marathon fabric. And the thing is, you want a very sharp blade because the way that this tweed pattern is woven, if you come through and you're not, you got to be confident when you cut this. If you're not confident and you don't cut it cleanly or bear down on it, what you'll do is you'll have a thread and you'll pull a thread through the whole thing, and you'll have a run in your fabric. You don't want to do that. Oh yes, so okay, for the Florida Van Life Gathering, I'm going to do my best. I hope we have service, but I really, really want to live stream every single day that I'm down there. I'm going to bring my laptop. So pending internet connection, I will live stream. But as you guys know, I will do a full tour of as many vans as I possibly can get to. I would love it if you guys just give me questions on stuff that you want to see at the event. So if you guys are, can't be there, if you're there, definitely come by and say hi. We're going to be, I believe we're going to be parked at the exhibitor booth. You'll see Thomas's van, and then you'll see my van. It's actually a low roof build. It's a silver van, but we'll have those two vans. I mean, you can't miss Thomas's van. But we'll be there. I'll be running around doing interviews. Come up to me. I think I'll be wearing like my work shirt, my Odyssey gray shirt, my logo. Yeah. But if you see me, come grab me. If not, I will be trying to edit and just crank out stuff from the van event. But there'll be tons of stuff. There'll be tons of photos, all that good stuff. All right, let's get back here. All right, so let me come over here. Let's see, I need to do... I'm going to show you one more panel real quick, because I don't know when I'm going to get back to doing another video on upholstery. So I'm taking out the panel that goes, complements this one. This one's more tricky. So if you guys can see, this panel has a bunch of very fancy contours in it. And so what this is doing is we have the van, the window, then the reinforcement of the van structure, then we have the cable tray run, and then the ceiling, and then the notch out for the 80/20 bracket. So this panel fits here, like that. And so we'll have this upholstered panel, we'll have this upholstered panel. This is our access to our water system. So that will be its own separate panel, so it can be removed, put back. But the cool thing here is we're not going to worry about all this stuff going on here, because we've got our Humble Road secret weapon. If you guys watch Humble Road, I love his channel. And his secret weapon is this ABS plastic. So we're going to take that, and this plastic goes like this. And it'll actually lock into the top 80/20, and then it'll be black sheet metal screwed into the panel like this. And so you'll have a nice transition between the fabric and then the ABS, visually pleasing. Plus, behind this will be Havelock wool to insulate the top portion. So again, guys, this is something you can definitely tackle. And you can get a very professional result using just simple material. I believe this is the best way because, one, it's very expensive or hard to get van kits. So I understand that, definitely if you're on a budget. But two, I mean, look at this contour. You know, this contour is not something that I 3D modeled on CAD or something like that. This is just part of customizing. This is the fun. This is kind of what I love doing. So, figuring out how to get those contours in here to make it nice and custom, that's what I like to do. If everything was just, easy assembly, it would kind of take the fun out of this whole job. All right, so that's what the end result is going to kind of look like. Now we've, this is all prepped, ready to go. Let's go over here to, let me check my chat. Okay. Battery's looking good. And in the chat, guys, you know, if you can't hear something or see something or have a question, let me know. All right, so as I mentioned, you want to apply glue to your front part first. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to spray on this top. Now we want to be cognizant of this rollover here on the bottom. It's not that big of a deal because you're not going to see it, but you just want to make sure you have enough rollover, because the rollover is not only gives it the professional look, but it holds the upholstery taut over its lifetime. Because if you just put it on the face and you kind of had if you cut it on the edge, it would have a tendency to move, and it wouldn't have a nice taut feel to it. So the next thing I want to do is we need to make sure that we got enough overlap. So we've cut a big enough piece of fabric so that we can pull this over and overlap it. If there's a crease that you can't get out, just make sure that crease is going on the back of the panel. So in this case, we're going to move our panel up here so that we can have that on the back side. All right, so I'm going to be working like this. How do we look? Oh, okay, we're looking good. All right, so step one is we need to coat both the front of the panel and the upholstery with adhesive. So you don't just spray your pad and then put the carpet on it. You don't just spray the carpet and then or upholstery and then put it on here. You need to coat both sides. Go ahead and move your phone or anything off to the side, because you're going to get overspray. Doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to get overspray. And this stuff is pretty sticky, so it is directional, but it's going to have overspray. Next, not sponsored, but Venom Steel Nitro gloves. These things will not give you a headache like other gloves from like Harbor Freight or like Cheapos. Spend the good money on these kind of black mechanic style nitrile, however you say it. What's really important about that is this glove will not stick to this adhesive, which is really cool. So so you can actually use this and it won't stick, and you can reposition stuff and move stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have the nice part of the fabric. Go ahead and just visually check it. You know, be OCD about it. Make sure the grain of the upholstery is going in the right direction. And then if it's going in the right direction, you got on your table, everything's looking good, you can go ahead and start applying the adhesive. You want to make sure you shake it up for at least a minute. We're going to just triple check that we got plenty of overlap and we're not really worried about anything. So everything is looking really good. Make sure it's nice and centered as much as possible. You know, fibers perpendicular, all that good stuff. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and spray our corners. Oh no, I take that back. We're going to just spray the top. We'll do the corners last. I'll explain why. We want to get this top part on, but we don't want it to fall over and stick to our edges, because we're going to flip this over and we're going to spray this side. So when we spray this side, we'll be able to actually fold this part, which is actually this part. We'll be able to fold this part over while this is out of the way, and then our remainder, we'll have this cover it. Let me let Nova out here. All right, so I think I've shaken this up enough. Let's check any questions. Got a couple more viewers. If you guys are watching, we are doing upholstery on our Marine One build. We're taking it to the Florida Van Life Gathering this weekend. And I just had 3 more panels to finish before I tidied some other stuff up in the van. So that's what we're doing. We're at the point where we are getting ready to do our spray adhesive. We're using 3M Super 77. On the top of this can, not many people know this, there's a black dot. That dot you want to orient with the arrow on the top of the can. I've not noticed a difference in not doing that, but apparently that's what the instructions say, so we're gonna do it. If you do have like a piece of cardboard or something like that, of course I have cardboard coming out my ears in the shop. You know, get a piece of cardboard and you can kind of manage your overspray. But what we're going to do is we're going to hold the can about 10 inches or so above the panel. The most critical part about spraying this is you don't want to, when you spray it, you don't want to get so close and it turns to this liquid. That will screw up your whole panel. That liquid state is very bad. Regardless of how long you let this dry, your fabric will not stick to this watery way that you sprayed. You must make sure you're back enough, and you can just test this. And you want it to be enough so that it's not runny. Essentially, you don't want it to look like snot. That's an easier way to think about it. You want it to look like almost like a matte finish. So if you spray it and it looks like a booger, you're probably going to need to take some piece of cardboard or something to wipe that up, let it off gas, and then just gently spray some more on it. Don't worry about doing everything in one run or a full pass. Okay, so what we're going to do is just play around with the can. I mean, every can kind of has a little different, and you just got to find out how it's working for you. Now, I've got this studio set up with this humongous light right here. You guys can't see it, but it's making it hard for me to see what I normally can see in downward light. So if I look weird like looking at this, it's because I guess I'm doing this with studio lighting. Anyway, so keep it back. Don't make a big old booger because it's, again, like I said, not going to stick. But so what we're going to do is we're going to spray it this way, and then we're going to let it sit for 1 minute. And then we're going to come by, we're going to spray it this way, let it sit for a minute, and then we're going to come by and do it one more time for a minute. And I always say I kind of do stuff, over the top, but in my experience, don't want to get this wrong. You don't want this falling off the panel in a year or so. You don't want to have like bubbles or anything. You want to make sure that you do it right the first time, and you never have to worry about it again. All right, that's enough said. Let's see who's going. Oh man, we got 8 people. Heck yeah! Welcome guys to the channel. I need to plug this phone in really quick before we get started. all this is done live, so what I do is I use my phone to make sure you guys can see the shot. It's being framed really well. So I will be right back to start the spray glue. All right. Also, if you guys, if you have questions, ask questions. I'm going to go back over to the computer and then I will answer them. All right. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, so we're going to head start on this edge. Remember, don't do the corners. We're just doing the top right now. And yeah, so we'll just get through. And so with the way that this can is right now, this is what's kind of working to make sure that I don't have those boogers, I keep calling them. You just don't want it watery. You want it to be just a matte, like a matte finish. We're not trying to get this whole thing glued in one go. It is, I got good ventilation in the shop here. I've got like a fresh air thing, but you may, if you've not done this before, you may want to have some type of respirator or something like that. I'm going to turn on my little fresh air fan. You just need to have circulation. So we're going to go ahead and let this sit for a minute. And the way that this product works is it's not like glue where you kind of put it down wet and it sticks together. It really operates like, what is the name of that product I'm thinking of? It's like used for cabinets. It's like a brown type of glue. Contact cement. This kind of works like contact cement. It's like spray-on contact cement in the way that it works. Yep, but we got about 20 more seconds. Check the chat. The way you can tell that it's done is you can just feel that it's tacky. So right there, that's a minute, so we're good. Go ahead and make sure this thing is shaking all the time. And now we're going to go a little opposite direction. And then what I do is on my last one, you know, I kind of slow it down just to make sure I get a really good pass. So I'm going more for like evenness on this first one. So just look at your watch. Because remember, we got to spray this, and then we got to come over here, and we got to spray this part right here. We're going to slide it up, and then the reason I said we're not going to spray this is because we're actually going to take this and we're going to fold it down on top of this. So this back piece is actually going to be a reveal piece. All right, doing good. 10 seconds. So this last pass, I'm going to go a little slower. But then at the same time, you want to make sure you're just find out how the wood is absorbing, how dry it is it soaking your, that is another benefit of, you know, if you wanted to use less adhesive, you could paint it and then the glue wouldn't soak down in. But I've just found more, just as much as this you can put on there, even if you did 4 passes today, it would be better, because the more you can build up without getting it runny. I mean, this stuff is going to, This stuff holds so well that if you do it right and you try to pull the fabric off, you'll rip all the wood fibers off. That's how strong this stuff is. So we'll do 4 passes today because I'm kind of talking quick and I'm kind of doing this fast, so I'm putting less than I would. But we're just going to come over. But at home, you would, since you don't have these studio lights, you would be able to see kind of where you're overlapping the adhesive. I mean, another way to set you guys up for success is don't be frugal and try to save money on cans and just use whatever you need to use, but don't try to just spray it sparsely. It will mess you up in the end. Yeah, so we're gonna do one more pass, and I'm gonna come back this direction. So again, check out your watch. You want to do a minute. Stand back so you don't get all the fumes. So we got about 30 seconds. All right, about 15 seconds. And then just check this. Make sure it's just nice and tacky. All right, we're gonna do our last pass. And if you see like little areas with bubbles, make sure you're not putting a lot on there. And what happens is I got a little too close over here, and on the edges are sometimes where the bubbles are going to build up because if you're doing it like this, you're kind of staying on those edges just like a split second longer than the rest of the panel. All right, so I'm happy with that. We'll do this at about, wait another minute and we will get that going. So you can actually move this while it's drying. So we're gonna move this up because we want to there we go. Another pro tip, make sure, so that back side, you'll feel it kind of touch the overspray if you're working in tight quarters. That's why the original place you start, you want to keep it nice and clean with no overspray, because this is your outer side. Oh, I see. It's okay, guys. I didn't see my camera turn off. It's coming back. Stay with me. Give it a couple seconds here. It's coming back. All right. I'm gonna have to keep this. Give it a second, guys, but we'll be coming back here. So I gotta have my phone over here. There we go. All right. We're back. We are back. All right. So we moved our panel up forward. And what we're doing right now is we wanted it to be on a surface that's clean, because this will be our final side right here. So make sure that's the side that doesn't get the overspray if you're working in a tight area. This side is done. So we've already got all of our coatings on here. It's nice and tacky. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to spray this side. So this side, go ahead and shake your can up. Let's see here. There we go. All right, let me put some stuff in the chat. Thank you. Okay. So same thing here. We're going to start over here on the side, and we're just going to go. So now I can actually see how much glue is coming out. The material's darker for me. Again, if you guys don't have like a bright light shining this way and over here, you'll be able to see the contrast more. And just go easy on your first one, because depending on the color of your fabric, is how you're going to see like the glue show up. And don't worry about these edges. We're going to get those the edges are another process. Don't worry about the edges, all right? Go ahead and time that. We will, let's see here. Got another minute. I go check the chat. Ah, Richie, what's going on? Richie's in the live stream. So Richie, I'm building vans live. So I'm doing a upholstered panel for one of my customer builds. That's Thomas's van back here. And so I've been trying to do a live stream of the panel getting upholstered. And today was the perfect day, because I've got 3 that I got to knock out. So I'm just going to do a live stream for this one. And let's see, we got a couple more seconds for that to dry. If you guys have any questions, just start putting those in the chat while I'm working on this. I'm going to spray this one more time, and then we're going to get going. We'll get to actually apply it. It's critical that you upholster both sides. So, add glue to both sides. You can't cheat with this stuff. All right, so while that's drying, I'm gonna bring Nova inside because she's being loud inside. Okay. All right. Wait a minute. The fun part is cutting and getting everything done. The glue part is the most boring part. There's no excitement right now other than maybe telling you guys what to expect. So if you do like these light coats, you can kind of see it gets tacky pretty quick. And I mean, you guys are seeing right here live. You know, to do this the right way, you know, it's not a speed contest. And I'm only going to do just 3 light coats on this one. And notice how I'm kind of holding this kind of close. It all depends on the can. It depends on, you know, how much the fabric's taking it up. As long as you're not getting that, I don't have a better word than snot, but as long as you're not getting that kind of like snot look, you want it to be matte, like a matte finish. And just let it get tacky. You know you did a good job if you can actually take your hand. This glove doesn't, you know, hold on to it. But we'll let that go for another minute. You guys can see we've used a lot of glue on this. So. All right, then we're going to just do one more light coat as soon as this tacks up. Let's check the chat. Yeah, so I try to do these live streams every day, but yeah, this is a fun thing to tune into while you're at work, right? But I try to do these every day. The thing these last couple weeks is we've got a lot of changes on the van. The Florida Van Life Gathering is coming up. So logistics and getting the van back, you know, getting my van ready, getting it prepped for the weekend, getting all the video gear. A lot of stuff going on. But when we get back to the spec van, so that's the shop build, we'll get into some more daily content. But the live stream setup I got right now is working really well. Of course, this camera, for some reason, it tends to cut out maybe every 20 or 30 minutes, so I got to watch it. I've got the mics fully charged. It's just it's a lot of things to keep tabs of. Now I've done video editing and production for like the last 10 years. Done weddings and stuff like that. Wedding films, wedding ceremonies. So I'm all good about having the pressure put on. It's just more of an annoyance when the camera shuts off. It's a really, really nice camera. It's just for whatever reason it wants to shut off. All right, and just kind of did a finishing pass. And so one thing I do, again, this looks like overkill, but I'm telling you guys, this will make your job so pro. Just take the can and then just do one extremely light pass on your other panel, just a dusting. All right. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of priming. I'm kind of waking that adhesive back up a little bit. That way, when I put it over here, they're kind of in the same tackiness, you know. So we'll definitely let this sit for a solid minute, and then the fun part's going to start happening. We're going to fold this over. We're going to start, you know, doing the edges, getting all that stuff done. So while we're waiting a minute, I'm going to check my batteries real quick. All right, got 3 bars. I think this mic will make it through this live stream. It's my goal. Probably need to upgrade, but. All right, about a couple more seconds. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, put those in the chat. Doesn't have to be about upholstery. Can be about the van event coming up this weekend. Can be about any other live stream stuff. Okay. Everything's feeling really good. Panel's looking good. Let's go ahead and we're going to keep this edge. We're going to come over here, try not to get on our clothes, and we're going to lift this up, and then we're going to come down. Okay, and then we're just going to come down nice and easy and make sure we don't have any bubbles or anything like that. Okay, just lightly put this on here because we're going to flip it over. Now, you can do it the way I just did it, or you can do it another way. Maybe if you're more of DIY, laying it down, if you're not comfortable knowing that the surface underneath it may have a crease, you could put the panel and then fold the glue side on top and then smooth it out. I've just done this on this table, and this tends to work out really good. And I'm just kind of lightly pressing, and then I'm going to come up and then check on my my side here. And I typically would not move this, but since you guys are watching for learning purposes, I will have to move this. Yeah, you don't want to do what I'm doing, but it's okay. I know how to fix something that any problem I create. All right, so here we have it. We got our middle portion, and we're just going to start from the middle and kind of work our way just gently. Just do it gently, okay? You want to do it gently because if you push down too hard, sometimes the adhesive might grab harder in other areas, and you just want to do it gently until you kind of got the whole panel done. Then you can really get on it. But just start in the middle, work your way out to the sides. All right. So that looks really good. So now what we're going to do is keep it on your clean side. So in your case, you don't want to move it like I did. But I'm teaching you guys, so I moved it. All right, so now what we're going to do is that side, we're happy with it. See how I'm pulling it off of this side? You don't want this corner adhesive to stick yet. That's why I said don't spray it, because it'll bubble. You want to be able to, when you get this adhesive done, you want to pull up so you get that nice clean crease. Okay. So next, should be pretty obvious, is we're going to do glue on this side, but not yet, okay? Because we're going to do the edges, specifically the back edges, not this one yet. So we're going to get this pulled up and over, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our razor and we're going to have it about 1 inch in. So since now I made this all up, this is not on any instruction, it's just a Nick rule. I'm using 1.5 inch 80/20, so I will pull this in and then I will cut it at 1.5 inches. And then once I have this side, and this side finished, I will go ahead, spray this and the edge fabric, and then I'll pull this last layer on top of it, and it's going to cap this the top edge. So really, nobody's going to see it, but, you know, if you did see it, it would look good. It's that whole Steve Jobs thing. It's kind of like, you don't see the inside of the computer, but if you open it up, it would look nice. So I kind of like to do the same thing. Okay, so this can's pretty much dead. I don't like using a can that's about to just quit on me. But let's go ahead and shake this up. And then make sure you find that black dot, turn the nozzle to the black dot. If you're doing this at your house or garage, make sure you put something down on the floor. I've got epoxy floor, so I can just clean it up with like alcohol or whatever. But that overspray will come down onto your floor. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to hit this can, find how we're spraying, and we're going to go ahead and just spray this edge. And we're only going to do 2 passes. And you want to do them kind of quick. You don't want to do a full spray. You want to do like spurts. Remember, the first one is just going to kind of soak into the wood like the last one did. So really, you're just you're trying to get a foundation on that edge. Now, it doesn't take this long. Obviously, I'm talking through all these points, so I'd say maybe I could do one of these panels in maybe like 15 minutes or something like that. It's really just as enough time as it takes the glue to dry. Yeah, but go ahead and get that started. All right, and you can kind of monitor it. See, this one you might have to wait like a minute and a half to make sure it doesn't mess up. Because this is still pretty tacky, because when you're in a confined space, more is going to get on there, and that's why I was trying to tell you to make sure you're careful with it. Yeah, so this side's not ready. Okay, so that side's good. That's good. Yeah. As soon as it gets tacky and you can pull away from it without it being gooey, you're good to go. All right, next is just very light. Just a very light spray. And focus on the corner. Don't worry about this top. Don't try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because the angle of the spray, you're going to overspray on this and get it goopy. Just trust me. So let this sit about a minute. And then the last thing was we'll just do 1 quick pass over the top. And that'll be good for us. All right, I'm going to go ahead and check the chat real quick. It's all good. I'll be here longer than 10 minutes. So. All right, check this out. All right, so now we're just going to do a brief, about 1.5 inches on this top part. We will be spraying this whole thing, but not yet. We want to do the things in steps. So go ahead and just lightly spray that 1.5 inches. Go ahead and let that dry. I would want to show you how to do these contours today. I just don't have time because I have to get back to, I am on a deadline with the van, so I've got about enough time to do this, grab some lunch, and then I'm going to go right back to putting everything back together on Thomas's van. Because I'm heading out tomorrow. But let's see here. Yeah. Okay, so that looks good. All right, let's get into the fun part. We're going to go ahead and start to pull this over. So kind of move these edge fibers out of the way. In a perfect world, you wouldn't be using this. I know how to work with this, and I don't care about that because I know how to cover it up, make it look cool. But let's go ahead and talk about how we cover things. So this is the harder part of the video. It's the most exciting part for me, but it is a more challenging part for a DIYer if you've not done this before. So like 45-degree angles are going to be your friend when doing upholstery. For example, when we fold this over, we don't want this whole thing folding over. So what I'm doing right here is I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut on this edge. I'm going to cut a 45 and I'm going to go straight out from the table. And I'm actually going to move this up a little bit. Okay. And then down here, I'm also going to take a 45 out. Okay. So now this part is not affecting my angle, my piece I'm going to move over. This part is, if we've kind of like disconnected it, like that's separate and then this is separate. And I'm going to, let me zoom in. I think that might help. Let's come over here. There we go. All right, let's check our battery power, make sure our mics aren't going to cut out like they did last time. Cool, got 3 bars. All right, so we're over here. And so now that 45 we cut, we kind of disconnected this part, disconnected this part. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the middle and we're just going to pull up with some upward pressure, make it taut, and just pull it in. And then we're just going to kind of keep a steady pull up. And that makes sure that our face edge is nice and sharp. Okay, and just do that and pull up. And make sure you're doing from the bottom up because you don't want to have like a bubble. All right, and then once you do that, just kind of come back, give it some extra pressure. And then now you're going to put your finger or your thumb and you're going to keep it taut, and then you're just going to use this to start forming that edge on the back. Now, nobody's going to see this back edge, but I'm teaching you so in case this was an edge that you did see on kind of 3 sides, it would look nice and neat. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then now we're going to start laying it down. Now this is not ideal because we got these like little fibers here and they're going to kind of mess us up. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to fix that. It doesn't matter, nobody's going to see this backside, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to cleanly cut. I'm not cutting this. Do not cut this. You're only cutting the piece you just folded over. And then you're going to come and just cut it off clean, just like that. And then these little frays, just kind of roll them in. All right? Next, we're going to do the same thing over here. Do not cut this. Whatever you do not cut this. Just the flap that you rolled over, okay? Now, to clean up our mess, because I wanted to use the whole entire whip, I didn't want to waste fabric. You can make sure you do something where you're comfortable, and if you mess up, you got a lot of stuff to work with. Like this would be like a bare minimum for a DIY. I want to make sure you can grab it, pull it over. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come through here, and I'm just going to score the fabric just like this. Okay, and that way I can go ahead and I can pull this off. And I might have to, this is why you don't want to use the edge, but you guys kind of see my point. This is also a good way to explain why you want a very sharp blade. You want to make sure as you're peeling this off, you're not going to ruin the other side. Now you're not going to have this problem because I already told you, I will advise you guys to not use like this edge that has all these like furry pieces on it. This is not part of it, all right? This was this was Nick doing it live on the internet. Anyway, so just kind of cut off that excess. Don't worry about this. When we fold this over, it's going to be nice and clean. But yeah, just come over here and kind of cut this off. And you'll notice your blade's going to get dull, and that's why I said go ahead, get it in a safe place, cover it, you break your blade off, dispose of this properly, and then you can regain your sharp edge. So there's one side, not too bad, right? So the next side, and then always think like three-dimensional. Know that this is the top of your panel, this is the back of your panel, and this is the bottom of your panel. And that way you won't get the anxiety of, oh man, is this gonna show that I messed this side up? Or you can relax on one side knowing that it's not gonna be seen. All right, same thing for this. We're gonna come over here and I'm gonna zoom out for this one. I think you guys kind of got the point on that first one. So let's get back here so you can see me. Hopefully my head's not chopped off. Let's see here. I'll find out in a minute. So we're going to take this piece right here. You can fill these holes on the back side, but like I said before, remember where those holes are going to be that you shifted, if you did shift them. All right, so we're going to pull up, and we're pulling up and then increasing with our thumb. Make sure you get that really nice taut pull up, because that edge on the other side, that's how you're defining that edge, is by pulling up on this one. And but the fun part is, see how I'm just pulling up and touching with my thumb, and it's staying stuck? It's because the adhesive works really well. So we're doing good. So I did a no-no. I went over here and I did not cut my 45s, so make sure you cut your 45s. Kind of breaks that off of the other piece. Now here's a challenging part. When I fold this over, it's going to want to stick to this other piece of fabric. So just pull this up, all right, and then let this lay back down. Come over here and then go ahead and work on this corner, just like we did the other corner. All right, so work on it, get it nice and taut. Go ahead and get that edge. Use your thumb, roll it on in there. This side is perfect, we don't have to do anything. Take your razor, do not cut this. Always only cut the flap you're working with. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to go. We're ready to take this and we are going to pull it up into the middle. And then just gonna, now we're focusing on making our edge. Now when you're cutting your van panel, you need to take into account whether you're folding it over once or twice. So if you're going over on one side, maybe you add 1/16 of an inch to make up for the fabric. And so you need to cut off an additional 1/16 inch of wood. Or if you're doing two, maybe you need to cut off an additional 1/8 inch of wood to make up for your fabric thickness. Because when you put this back on the wall, you've added roughly 1/8 of an inch of material that you may not have considered when you were cutting your wood. So always make sure that you are thinking of the added thickness of fabric. So if you want to get super pro, we're going to come over here and zoom back in. We're going to come over here and so see how this is not sticking to this? That's fine. Because we're going to take it and we're going to cut it down like that. And then we're going to, you can see here, we're just going to follow what we did before. And this way that our layers are not overlapping and kind of having this bump, we're in the same thickness. And then we're going to come on this back side. And remember how I said I didn't want you to cut this? Well, now you can actually pull this up and then cut. Go cut straight across first. And then this end, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it off, leave about like a 1/16 or a 32nd extra, and just kind of roll that over and push that in. And that adhesive is going to catch all of that. And then later, after everything is set, you can take a pair of scissors and kind of trim this, and then you'll have that nice clean nose edge. So again, what we have here, we've got that 1.5 inches. So you can kind of cheat and you could get your piece of 80/20, for example, and you could just run it along the edge with your razor and come down. And then we're going to come down to this other side. And we're going to do the same thing, but this is going to be on this side. Come on, straight down. And then where do we end up? Okay, right here. So now since we use that 80/20 as a guide, watch what happens. This thing comes off nice and clean. We've got that edge, and we just come back over here. Go ahead and cut. And so this is kind of the artist part, is these edges, these noses right here. So you kind of have to just play around with it. I'm not worried about the top because this is not an edge that you will see, but edges that you do see, you want to take extra time to make sure that they're taken care of. All right, so we're trucking right along. We got this edge done, we got this edge done. So you guys can see we're looking nice, looking good. Now we're going to pull this forward. Make sure your tabletop is still clean. All right. You don't want to dirty up your clean panel you just made. So now is the final gluing. So we're going to come back here on this back side, and we're going to do our glue like we did before. Just kind of so I did the side, and I'm also going to do the top. And to save time, go ahead and start getting that glue on the back piece of your carpet. So you can see now, since you guys have watched the video this far, you can start working a lot faster. You can do two things at the same time. So you're making better use of your time. But in reality, the panels are what you're going to see all the time. So if you're doing this DIY, it's something you want to be proud of. So since you're going to see it often, just take your time. Take your time. Let's check the chat. What we got? Anything in the chat? Nope. All right, got about a minute. Okay. So we're just going to go a different direction. And it's okay if you get it a little bit on this upholstery on the right side, because you will be needing to have it stick to that. Just don't get it on the front. And we're just going to do one more pass on this back side, and we will be set to upholster. The cool thing about doing the spray like we did at the beginning is it actually outlines your profile of this back piece, so you're not really wasting a lot of adhesive. So that's it. That is all the adhesive we're going to use for this panel. So I use probably a can, maybe a can and a quarter, can and a half. Don't let this be your deciding factor of how much you put on here. You need, just put as much on here as the as the panel is telling you to put on it. If it's dry, it's gonna want some more adhesive. So this side is already good. This side is good. I want to do a little bit more. You can kind of see after it hazes over where you might have missed some spots. I'm just going to do one dusting here. When I call it dusting is I'm kind of, there's a happy medium in this stuff where if you let it get nice and tacky, it's still going to adhere really well, but you kind of want them, when you do that dusting, it kind of reactivates it. It doesn't make it when you reactivate it for that moment, it makes it less tacky, but what happens is it evens out the tacky time for both of them. So, if that makes sense, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, this looks good. All right, wait about 15 more seconds. We will be finishing up this panel. It's exciting because I'm starving right now. I need to grab some food. All right, so find your center line because we want to pull up. And we're actually going to do this. If you work with like a little block and just kind of work on these techniques, just take an hour or two, do some homework before you start doing your panel that you've cut, measured, drilled. If you put like a lot of time into a panel and you upholster it and you mess up, you really kind of just want to quit on the van. So practice before you get too on top of it. So this is what I do. So what I do is I take it and I kind of pull this in, and I'm gonna push down right here, create my crease, and just fold it over. All right. And then I'm gonna take it and I just want to pull this over to the edge. And then what I'm going to do here is I want to make sure that I want to keep this taut as I pull up, because I don't want this bubble. Because if you just pull this up like this, you're going to get this bubble right here, and if you push it out, it'll create it's just not good. Just don't do it. So take this and you're going to pull it out. All right, and you're just going to pull this straight up. Okay, and go ahead and just put your hand like that to kind of get it going. And then just take your panel and then flip it back down. So now you have this clean, tight edge. Don't push on this stuff right here because you're going to have to readjust it. So see how I picked it up like that? So I'm going to pull it down, and then I'm going to come out like this. And while I'm keeping everything taut, I'm going ahead and just taking my hand and I'm locking it in. I'm actually taking my fingers and they're on the top of the board, and I'm kind of pulling it over like leverage to keep it nice and taut. Because you want this corner back here is what you're trying to not get the bubble on. And sometimes, like I'm doing, you're going to have to push it with your hand first to make sure that bubble doesn't get created. So keep it taut, same thing. You know, pull it tight. Pull it tight. Now, if you mess up, you can lift up, but be very careful, because don't do that to everything, because you will rip the adhesive off in a way that that section will not be very tacky, and it could release in the future. So again, we're just taking it and pulling it. We're not pushing this down. This is all loose. See right here? This is all loose. All right, let's pick it up. And if I see a bubble happening, I'm going to try to catch it ahead of time. I'm going to secure that edge in, and then if I really messed up, I can kind of push up, because remember, I didn't push it down all the way, so it's not 100% tight. But I can kind of lift it up and fix my mistake like this. And then get it back to where it wants to be. Okay, so now we're just coming back and we're just double checking where we're at. Typically, if you're doing a van, you don't have to wrap the back. This is going in a section where Thomas can see it. It is where it is covering the thermal window coverings. So I just want it to be as nice as possible. But typically, like the kitchen galley and stuff like that, you don't necessarily need to. My head's chopped off. 1 second. There we go. Like the kitchen galley or battery system, you don't have to upholster the backside. All right, so now we're doing the final bit. This is where you want to go ahead and push this down, and then we're going to flip this over. Okay, remember this is our nice side, so Always treat the nice side nice, because you don't want it to look bad. So this is where you want to make sure you have the sharpest blade that you can have on your razor. So make sure you're safe. Take your razor where the score line is, cover it with your hand, look away, let that pop, get your nice clean edge. You know, safety glasses and respirators is probably warranted on this job, but I already told you about my shop. I got adequate ventilation. So now what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning up these edges, and then I'm going to come in. Let me zoom in. This is the final part. So we're probably got 10 more minutes. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat, and I'll answer. I'm going to hop back over the computer because we're pretty much at the end here. All right, so we're going to take instead of taking our knife and going straight, we need to take it and almost have it like at a 45-degree angle. And we don't want to cut into the fabric. We just want to make sure that this overlap is being cut off. So we're just going to take it, and we're not cutting into our over. We're just cutting into this side that's being pulled off. So really maybe like a 15 or 20 degree. And just go easy. Make sure your blade is super sharp. If you're questioning the sharpness of your blade, go ahead and break it off anyway. So you see we've got this nice clean edge that we just cut off. And then now we're going to come over here to the back side. And another reason to not worry is remember, this is the side that you're not going to see. So as soon as you feel this not cutting, because it will happen, you need to break the blade off. I'll flip this around so you guys can get one more look at how this is done. So just kind of come in. Okay. So remember, this is your clean side. Always, maybe if you haven't done this before, take a piece of tape and see, we got a hole there. Let's see, this is the, okay, so this green piece of tape is the top of the panel. This is the bottom. So maybe just have a piece of tape indicating the top and the bottom. All right, guys, so we are finished. So this is our back of the panel. We've got a couple of little frays right here, and just use a pair of like hair cutting scissors or whatever to get that off. But this is our back of our panel. This is the front of the panel. As you guys can see, we've got our tape. And let me zoom out. Or actually, you guys can look right here. So this is the front part. So you can see our edges are nice and clean. This is the back side of our panel. All right, let me zoom out. All right. Yeah, so that's it. The last step would be to go ahead and find your holes. And the ones like here at the top, just take your razor, come down, and just make an X. Don't cut it out like rounded. Just make an X. Same thing over here, make an X. And you can push in with your finger, make like a little divot, and the hole's gonna present itself. But yeah, this is our completed panel. So this is gonna go in the van. And then we're gonna go ahead and make the second panel. And this second panel will be upholstered, and this is gonna go right here, just like that. That will clean up our end. And we've got some stuff coming in the mail today. And, well, actually, this won't come in until next week. But we have some bungee nets that we're going to bolt, screw onto this panel. And that way, Thomas can use this for storage in the back of the van. Yeah, so let's hop on the computer. We'll go ahead and end this live stream. Here we go. All right, we're back. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun showing you guys how to put that together. So let's talk about this weekend really quick. I think it'd be a nice shout out. First, let me go ahead and shout out. Let's shout out Odyssey Custom Vans. So that is my business. Odyssey Custom Vans. Handcrafted adventure vans. Thoughtfully designed and engineered with everything you need to arrive, relax, and stay comfortable during your off-grid adventures. That's a really good way to wrap up in a sentence, what adventure vans are all about. You want to get there, relax, and then just have everything you need to just have a really good time. Now, if you want to get in touch with me to schedule a build, professional build, go ahead and click the contact form up here. You can put your information, subject line, and then a message. In the message, I want you to tell me your story. What are you doing van life for? Are you doing van life? Are you doing overlanding? Do you have some dream going up into the Cascades and just hanging out up there? Going to Canada. Or just doing like the van life, traveling through state parks or anything like that. There's all kinds of different ways to approach a build. And the first thing is to understand the story that you have and where you're taking that, where you're going with that story. So that is the foundation of building the van, kind of starting off with, your power needs and stuff like that. So yeah, tell me that story in the message box. I'd love to set up a consultation with you to talk more. In the moment, I haven't finished the phone consultations that I want to set up to help you guys. So if you are not wanting to do a professional build, but you want some professional advice from me, I'm happy to schedule a call with you. So in the interim, we are using this contact form to do that. And so the subject line, you can just do phone consult, in the message, kind of what questions you have. It can be solar, upholstery, like we just did in this video today. Let me know. And if you want to, you could even, this is my number right here. I prefer that you fill out the contact form. But that is actually my number. You can text it. But fill out the contact form. It kind of goes with my whole workflow and process. So it'll be a better way for you to, start that relationship and reach out with me. OdysseyCustomVans.com. Click on the contact form. And then let's go ahead and check out the Florida Van Life Gathering. So this is February 3rd through 6th. I know that I believe they're sold out on all the van spots right now. So it would just be tickets to attend the event as an attendee on maybe Saturday, Sunday, I believe. So that's kind of an update there. I'm really stoked about this because there's going to be a lot of people there. And just like Daniel said earlier, I will definitely be doing tons of video, tons of interviews with anybody down there, reaching out to them, also having a good time. So, yeah, interviews, coverage of the event, anything that, like, you know, the vendors are showcasing. Here's a website. If you go to click on Get Tickets, let's see what they got here. Oh, these are some new photos. Okay. So click on here to get tickets. Let's see what we got. So the early bird ended. Weekend pass sold out. What is available? Okay, so the additional attendees and a day pass. So it looks like the day passes are the only thing available right now. So yeah, I think this is going to be pretty awesome. Let me back up here. You can go to the schedule page, check out what's happening for the weekend. Sponsors. This is presented by Van Life Outfitters, and the title sponsor is Victron Energy. Then there's going to be Southeast Overland and Outdoor, Roamly, Moxie Van, Defiance Tools, Sierra Nevada, Flare Space, Go Camp. And then we got Rover Vans, Moving Oasis Vans, Live More Camper Vans, Modern Times Van Co., Embassy RV, Scala Conversions, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Go Code Overland, Valley High Vans. We interviewed them at the last Adventure Van Expo, Vanning in Plain Sight, Southeast Overland and Outdoor Expo, Beachside Custom Vans, and me, Odyssey Custom Vans. So we'll have Thomas's van there. We'll have my build there too. I think it's an interesting build to bring because, you know, instead of going like an all-out, you know, like zombie apocalypse style, you know, if you're going more for a DIY approach, you know, stuff that's off the shelf. I built this van, oh man, that's almost 4 years ago, and haven't really changed it. So it's a cool way to look back and see, you know, when I first started doing this, what things came to mind, like what products were I putting in that I could, when I was in that budget zone, you know, what could I afford to put in the van? So yeah, so that van will be there. This van will be there. And I hope some of you guys are coming out. You know, put a like down here, not a like, put a comment down here if you will be going. Love to, you know, see you guys at the event. But other than that, that is going to do it for this live stream. I hope this helped you with upholstery. If you need any other tips, put those in the comments below. We can put it into a future video if we didn't answer those questions. And definitely future live streams. Come on in, join me. Always open to asking questions during the live stream. Does not have to be specific to the current live stream that's being produced that night. So, all right, guys, this is the last live stream from the shop. I'll be busy the rest of the week. I'll be at Florida, the Florida Van Life Gathering. Goodness, I got to get some lunch. And I hope to see you guys there if you're in the area. But if not, we will see you probably next week when we have the spec build back in the shop and we are continuing with our daily live streams. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.